Hello, class. Welcome back to another brief discussion about another topic that we've been looking at here in Mr. Williams' 7th grade social studies class. As the other videos pointed out to you guys, if you guys say anything or hear anything that you guys think that needs to be added to your religions chart, please pause the video, go ahead and add it in there, and make sure that you guys get down some good notes out of this stuff. Also, remember that a lot of this stuff will be covered on our end of the section quiz over Hinduism, which will take place sometime within the week. So let's go ahead and get started today. We're going to talk about Hinduism and the fact that it is one of the oldest religions in the world and how it played a very important role in its development within India. So, the main religion in India is Hinduism. Okay, it is one of, like I said, one of the world's oldest religions. It is also followed in other areas like Nepal, Malaysia, and other parts of the world. The thing about Hinduism compared to our other religions, there are some differences, obviously, but probably the biggest difference that we would talk about is the fact that there is no real founder to the religion. It is kind of like the blending of a number of different groups that came together and developed this particular religion based on their beliefs. And that's going to come along here in this next slide, which is the fact that the religion probably got its start from the people that originally lived in India, and then this group that came into India called the Aryans, and they were the ones that were responsible for kind of blending these beliefs together and basically creating this new religion of Hinduism. Okay, so it is pretty much one of the oldest, if not the oldest, religion in the world that we kind of still follow today. But it is definitely a blending of a lot of beliefs, and there's a whole lot known about how this got it started because we're not really sure. We just can go off the basis of these readings and such like that we've found that we don't have a whole lot of information about. So it's our best educated guess that it's kind of a blending of the Aryans as well as the people that lived there originally to help create this new religion at the time of Hinduism. Okay. The holy text of Hinduism, that one we're going to kind of concentrate on, is the Vedas. There are 4 of them, and it is believed that they are written by the Aryans. They are 4 different books, and I'm going to be supplying you with a reading over these different Vedas here in class. So there will be some more specific information that I want you guys to look up, read up about, and you guys can mark up that text. You guys can find that information on Canvas, and we will go ahead and you guys can go ahead and pause the video at this point in time and look up that reading online and basically start to get some more information. And this would fall underneath the category on your chart of the holy text, the holy beliefs, and where the worship comes from and everything else like that. So you guys can put these on your chart as well too. So the Vedas are definitely the holy text, much like what the Bible would be to Christianity or any other holy text to their main religion. So, but I would go ahead and pause it now and upload the reading over the Vedas, kind of mark up that text, add some information to your chart, as well as there's a couple questions that go along with that, and try to answer those to the best of your ability. The next part of this, once you guys have gotten done with this, is the idea of Brahman. Okay, and it is Brahman is this one universal being. Sorry, I went a little bit too far. And it is the source and final destination of it. So it's kind of like if you were talking about the monotheistic religions, it is the god of the gods. It's like what everybody is part of. You want to be part of Brahman. It's this gigantic being that all of these other gods kind of shoot off of. And this is where Hinduism kind of gets a little bit tricky because, as it said in the video, the religion is a polytheistic religion, which, as we stated in class, polytheism is the belief in many gods. But in some cases, some people just believe in Brahman, so that would make it a monotheistic religion, the belief in one God. So therefore, it's kind of a tricky thing. So sometimes Hinduism can be both monotheistic and polytheistic, In some cases, just depending upon what view you've taken that. I've had some kids in class that have been Hindus in the past, and they've kind of explained that to me, like in that situation. So it's kind of an interesting take on whether or not uh, Hinduism is monotheistic or polytheistic, because it really can technically be both. Just depends on how you look at it. But Brahman is this great overall source, and basically, like I said, the final source and final destination of everything. There are three principal forms of Brahman, I should say. Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. Okay, all three of which are basically the three main gods, and this is where we get into the polytheistic portion of Hinduism. And as a result of that, that's where we kind of get in that whole bull thing. And then even off of these guys, you have more gods that break off of them. I once again also have attached a reading to your Canvas page about each one of these gods and goddesses, as well as Brahman. So why don't you guys, once again, go pause the video, go ahead, look on your Canvas page, and kind of read through those things, add some information to your religions chart. There might be a couple questions that go along with it, so you might want to answer those as well too, to help you guys get a better idea of what we're talking about here. And then we're going to kind of move on from there. So to kind of take a pause it, work at your pace, and add some of this information to your religions chart. So we'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, the 7 essential doctrines. Basically, they tell Hindus how to live their lives in order to become one with Brahman. So you have to go through this process of following these 7 essential doctrines. And they include things like peaceful living, freedom of thought, respect for nature and family. And this is a huge belief for the Hindus, okay? And all of these things are included. And it's just basically proper living. Like any other religion that we're going to talk about, there's always some things in there that you follow on a daily life in order to go to heaven, moksha, which is what the Hindu's version of heaven is, nirvana, which is what Buddhism's version of heaven is, which we'll get into later, all that stuff. But like I said, it's just it's all part of their daily lives, what they need to follow through in order to escape their life cycle, which is part of reincarnation, which we'll talk about here in just a few minutes, and basically become one with Brahman. Okay, they believe in good or bad actions that will affect us, and basically your good or bad actions in your life is your karma, which is one of your vocab words, which you guys will see pop up as well here in this or this discussion here. But make sure you guys know what that is. So, and like I said, karma right here, lifetime actions of a person. Basically, good or bad affects whether or not you are going to come back, and then what you are going to come back as in the next life. And that's all going to relate to the caste system, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes as well too. But karma definitely determines whether or not you can go up or down a caste based on how you have lived your life. Like I said, this is affect how you were born in the next life. And at that process of being reborn into another life, and this is a huge word for this section, you guys really need to know this, and that is reincarnation. And reincarnation is a process in which one person goes one life to the next. So basically, you're born, you live your life, you die. Depending upon how you lived your life will determine what life you grow or what life you'll be in when you come back again. So they don't like in other than what we talk about with like the Christian religions and everything else like that. Which you would die, you live a good life, you go to heaven. They believe that you have to go through this process in which you die. If you have a good life, then you would move up a class, and then go on eventually working your way up to the top caste, and then working your way out into becoming one with Brahman. So it's not just like you live, you die, you live a good life, you go to heaven. It is more along the lines of you live, you die, and you come back. If you lived a good life, you move up a caste. If you live a bad life, you move down a caste, and it just keeps on going from there. And so they call this the life cycle, in which you are trying to escape this life cycle and eventually become one with Brahman. Okay, like I said, if you die, you were born into another life. The goal is, like I said, to become one with Brahman and go to moksha. And moksha, as I said before, is Hindu's version of heaven. This is another one. I'd pause this right now. After I get done with this, is moksha is the Hindu's version of heaven. You guys really need to know that for your uh, quiz that's coming up here in a week or so. So make sure that you guys are paying attention to that and getting that into your notes. Okay, so one of those big things. So I'd also add some of this information here to your chart, because reincarnation is another thing that's very huge, and it's also going to be a similarity when we talk about Buddhism, because Buddhism also believes in reincarnation. So it's like I said, it's one of those things that you really need to know, especially for these next 2 units. So um, just to be aware of that and make sure that you guys are prepared for that. So you might want to pause it now, get some of this information down, and then we'll be right back. The caste system is a lifelong social group in which you are born into. Okay, and this is huge as it relates to the the or reincarnation, because you have 5 different castes that we're going to talk about here, and those 5 different castes are basically the ones that you live in, you die in, you don't move up, you don't move down while you're living your life. You stay there. There's no way to move into another one until you die, and then are believed to be reborn into the next one, depending upon how you lived your life. So it's a huge process in which they go through, and the caste system is very much an integral part to the religion of Hinduism. There are 5 ranks. There are specific names, and I'm also giving you another reading with this, which at the end of this you guys can go to and look at, and there's also an assignment that goes along with it. So make sure that you guys are aware of that. But the castes are from the top, which are the priests and teachers, who are the top caste. Okay. Then you have your warriors and rulers, who are the second caste, and the farmers and merchants are the next caste. Servants, and then the untouchables. And the untouchables are just like what they sound like. They are a group of people that do the worst jobs. They are so below you that you just believe that you cannot touch them, which is where they get their name from. And it has become a major issue within Hindu society because of the fact that it pretty much was a religious form of discrimination. Because these people were given terrible jobs, they were treated poorly, and as a result of that, it was definitely, and it was just because of who or what class that they were born into. So therefore, it was a very interesting look at what's going on here. So basically, and a lot of untouchability has been pretty much outlawed in India because of what's happened here. So basically, say, let's see here, you were born into the farmers and merchants caste. You lived a good life, you had good karma, and basically what occurs there is that when you die, you would then move up to become a warrior or a ruler. Okay. The opposite can also be said. So say you're the same thing as a farmer and a merchant here, and you live a terrible life, and you basically, you have bad karma and everything else like that, then you would come back as a servant. Okay, and then the question always comes up, well, what happens if you're an untouchable and you live a horrible life? And then how does that work? Do you just come back as an untouchable? No, not necessarily. This is why Hindus have reverence for all life, because if you live a horrible life as an untouchable, you then could come back as an animal, a bug, something along those lines. So there's a very large reason as to why all life is sacred in the Hindu beliefs, and a lot of the Hindus are vegetarians because of the fact that they believe some of the souls of their relatives and stuff like that could be in some of these animals and such like that. Finally, if you live a good life and have good karma and you're a priest or a teacher, that is when you would escape the life cycle and then become one with Brahman. So that's the ultimate goal, is to work your way up through these caste systems here, and then eventually escape this life cycle and become one with Brahman. So that's the direction in which you wanted to go in, and it's very much an integral part of this whole entire system here. So that's how the caste system works with reincarnation, and how karma plays an extremely important role in all of this whole entire thing. And it's probably the big central belief that we really want you guys to understand within Hinduism, even more so than the gods and goddesses and everything else like that, is this whole idea of reincarnation, this whole idea of the caste system, the whole idea of karma and everything else like that. So it's a very much the huge integral part that we really want you to understand for this section. So with that said, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys got all that down. If you guys need to go back and review any of this stuff, please do. If you have any questions, please make sure you email me or ask me during class. And I will talk to you all soon.